All right, look, some of you guys are making this way too complicated. This is a very simple system. Now, success isn't some mystery. All you got to do is see what the successful people are doing and do what they do. Now, what are they doing? Let's talk about that for 1 second. At minimum, right? They're having their 2 shakes a day, 2 teas, and tabbies 3 times a day. The other thing that they're doing is that they're exercising anywhere from 2 to 4 times per week. What's the last thing that they're doing? See, 80% of you are missing out on this and aren't doing this and don't realize why it's so important. If you look at all of the coaches, you know what the coaches do? They participate in the chat. This is the X factor of producing results, and so many of you miss out on this. Let's talk about why that is, right? So many of us, it's why I joined Herbalife and why I decided to do this, is that I came from and I'm working on a series of bad habits. A series of bad habits, a series of bad choices had led me into the position where it was that I needed to change something because I didn't like the results that I had. I didn't like being overweight. I didn't like having low self-esteem. I didn't like not being confident. I didn't like my clothes not fitting. Okay, so that's why I came. I had a series of bad habits that ultimately resulted in those types of results. So I needed to change that for myself. Okay, and I imagine that's why you're here, is that you needed to change that for yourself as well. How do you build a set and a series of new habits? You do that in the chat. The chat is the foundation for where in which you build new habits. Let's talk about that. One, it keeps you accountable. Okay, so if you're not posting your shakes, if you're not posting your teas, if you're not posting your tabbies, if you're not posting your workouts, it's likely that while you may be the best, there's areas in which you're squiggling and wiggling out of that to not be accountable for what it is that you're up to. Because if you're posting, you're being accountable, and accountability, being responsible for that which you're eating and doing, is important. It's what says that you're on the right track. It's like a marker. Every time you mark a marker, you're on the right track. Every time you don't, maybe not. Maybe you don't have the results. All right. Secondly, what it does is it gives us a chance to cheer you on. So when you post, it's you get a reaction. It's like, oh, so excited. That's amazing. Let's go. See, a lot of us don't have a circle of influence of people who are cheering us on towards our goals moment by moment by moment. I'm not talking about like once a week or once a month when you call your mom on the phone. She goes, yeah, I'm really proud of you. No, I'm talking about multiple times a day. See, if you're not posting in the chat, you're not getting those responses. You're just not. But you do get those in the chat. It's just, it feels good. And a lot of you are missing out on that, right? Lastly, this is a place for practice, okay? What professional athlete of any endeavor that's doing really great, they don't practice on what it is that they're up to? See, when you come to the chat, you're practicing. It's a place where we practice. So let's just say you post a high sugar yogurt, and then it's like one of the coaches gets a chance to respond and say, hey, look, you shouldn't be eating yogurt that has over 10 sugars. There's healthier options out there. Try this yogurt, right? That's a practice. Now, if you just go through the entire month eating that same yogurt and then you don't have a result, and then you're like, well, and then you didn't participate in the chat because you didn't give anybody an opportunity to contribute to you and make that adjustment, then you say it doesn't work. But really, you weren't participating in the chat. And we didn't get a chance to make that correction, not because you're wrong, but because there's just something that's better out there that helps us get towards our goals. We all have the same common goal, which is to live a fit and healthy lifestyle. And where you build those habits, where you get accountable, where you get the support, where you practice is in the chat. So look, I'd like to see a lot of you participating more in the chat this month because it makes a real difference. It just does. Again, success isn't some mystery. You just got to look at what the successful people are doing and do that. That's what the coaches are doing. I'm following my coach. That's what my coach does. And I'm seeing results. I invite you to participate in the chat. It makes a difference.